graphic nature of this program, listener discretion is advised.
You're listening to Two Strangers, One Podcast. Subscribe to us on iTunes, or for Android devices, we are also available on the Stitcher app in the Google Play Store.
Well, hello and welcome to Two Strangers, One Podcast. I'm Chris.
I'm Paul.
And for those who listen to our show, we haven't had a new show in the past 2 weeks. Last episode was an episode I promised that was coming. I did an interview with my mom, of all things. That was kind of odd, but cool at the same time.
The lady that snores, yes, continue.
Yeah, the snoring lady. Back when my mom was visiting, wow, it's like over a month now. And then the episode before that was the second part of our sketch. Our episode that we did was Sketch, which we wonderfully named Spread the Sketch. And so now we're back. We're recording this on the 28th of February, the end of because I always forget about I always forget about leap year. But yeah, this is the 28th. But in all seriousness, just real quick, well, not real quick, but just want to tell our listeners, we do this goofy show, and this is what life comes to when it comes to we do goofy shit because there is real serious problems out there. There are. Real life happens, which is what an old friend of mine used to say, real life happens. And when, we talk about goofy shit, yeah, we'll talk about Justice League, and yeah, we'll talk about, wrestling or whatever the case may be, and comic books, because it gives us an escape from the drama and the real fucked up parts of life. Luckily, we can sit around and talk about goofy stuff and not have to worry about, bombs exploding in our backyard or whatever the case may be. So we stay a little goofy because life is very real and very dramatic. And, we like, all this stuff, cartoons, video games, comic books, it's all just an escape from the drudgery of real fucking life. And so, so that being said, don't think that we take anything trivially or anything like that. We just decided to stay focused on the goofy shit because, hey, what I'm saying, you have to alleviate some of the real life stress. So unfortunately, you've been having some, I guess the best way to put it would be family issues or very personal issues going on in the past couple of weeks, which is why we've put out those other 2 episodes in the interim.
Let's explain that a little bit more, because I think people are probably like, family issues, what the fuck is going on with this kid? Mm-hmm. And before I start talking about this and everybody goes, oh, you shouldn't be talking about this, my girlfriend already gave me the okay to have this conversation on the podcast.
It's therapy. It's therapy.
It is, and there's going to be some things that I'm going to leave out, and, you guys can ask me like 50 different questions. I'm not going to, I just want you to respect that, I'm going to tell you what I can tell you, and I'm not going to tell you anything more, because there are some things still going on that need to be, resolved, and once those things are resolved, I may talk about it, or my girlfriend may talk about it, but for right now, this is, I'm just going to pretty much lay out the situation, and, you guys can take from what it is from there. But, so basically last week, I believe it was Monday, my girlfriend got a phone call that her daughter was in the hospital. And, at first we didn't think it was that bad. And then they called her back and said, we're going to transfer her to Buffalo. I'm not going to say where she is in Buffalo right now, because none of you need to be going down there and disturbing my girlfriend and or her daughter. But suffice to say, her daughter was probably put in one of the worst situations that, as a parent, me and Chris are both parents. It's one of those situations that you never really want to have happen to your kid. Before I go any farther, I need to make sure that you need to understand that what happened was not my girlfriend's fault. What happened actually was not her ex's fault. So before we started accusing her ex, it really wasn't his fault, because he didn't know. But pretty much her little girl was shook by his now ex-girlfriend that is in jail as we speak. She was actually arrested, I believe, today.
Okay. So just a little clarification. Your girlfriend has a daughter with a guy from her previous relationship.
Yes.
Then he got into a new relationship with this other girl who, like you just mentioned, right now is in jail. But basically, they said that she was shaking the girlfriend's daughter.
I mean, there's a lot of this is what she said and this is what she said. So there's not. For me, there's not a clear-cut thing for me to say how it happened, but basically she, at some point, whether it was malicious or not malicious, shook her little girl, and now she's in the hospital. I wouldn't say fighting for her life because she's actually getting better. They took her off of, the paralyzing meds the other day, and she's moving on one of her sides, which is good. They actually pinched one of her toes, and she moved her right leg, and those are all good signs. But this Kelsea is really, really emotionally just gone at the moment, and it's hard. I'm not gonna sit here and tell you that I'm not. I'm in the best of moods, but when I'm with my girlfriend, she's happy, she's in a good place, but when I'm not with her, she's, not in the best of places. And even the smallest thing will send her over the edge. And right now I'm just hoping, I'm hoping for the best because, in the next couple weeks, she'll probably be woken up in the next couple days. And, the sooner I can get her home, the better it's going to be,
Because she had just recently moved in with you, right?
Yep.
So, and when she was, because I guess it was like a split custody situation with the father.
Well, I don't know how far I really want to go with it because I don't really want to say too much, but basically the whole reason why her daughter was, there was so that she could get everything in order. And at that point, she was getting everything in order. She had a full-time job that was paying very well. We'll get to that in a minute because I want to fucking rip them up and down the fucking goddamn. Anyways, so she had that. She has her car, which that's paid for and taken care of, so that's a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
And she was happy. She was getting her life together. She had a babysitter for Sophia. Everything was coming together. It was just she needed somebody to watch them on the weekends, and at this point, her father was the best option.
Mm-hmm.
Now, again, there's nothing you can really say. There's nothing you can really do when this all of a sudden happens. But it, the main part is it wasn't her fault. It actually wasn't her ex's fault because he didn't. Had he known, she would have been in the hospital. But
yeah, and it's just this day and age. You and I are both technically, single parents. We're not with the mother. You're not with the mother of your son. I'm not with the mother of my daughter. And, it is very hard to be a single parent because you want you want what's best for your child. Right. Unfortunately, the parents, this being the day and age that it is, if we can't get along, we have to split it up. So, there's nothing wrong with leaving, in this situation, she knows the father, she trusts the father, whatever happened between them is between them. But, right. You're not doing anything wrong. Well, you're usually, for most of the situation, you're not doing anything wrong when you leave your kid with their parent. This was unfortunately an outside circumstance, but, usually the traditional family, the way we were raised, mom and dad are together. And so usually, there's checks and balances. Mom is there, dad is there, right. But nowadays, it's a whole other generation where, kids have to be shuffled back and forth from home to home. And, right. As a parent, you obviously have no idea what's going on in the house, when like right now, I don't have custody of my daughter. I right. have no fucking idea what's going on with my daughter right now. I get to visit with her, and my daughter can communicate with me just a little bit of, the little bit that she can talk. And trust me, she talks a lot, I guess apparently, like, like my daughter, she was, because she mentions this name, which basically means that she was with, my baby mama, I guess would be the best way to put it. She's with my baby mama, and obviously, and they're at her cousin's house.
Right.
And I guess, like, apparently her cousin's dog must have, like, nipped her finger. Because she had a little mark or whatever, and she was like, "Oh, Tiffany's dog" or whatever. And I know who Tiffany is. That's my baby mama's cousin. And the little bit that she can communicate is like, "Oh, I put two and two together." Okay, she got, the dog took a little nip at her or whatever the case may be. And once again, in that situation,
right, you're not gonna flip out about that, but
yeah. I mean, but then again, I have no control over that. I could have easily flipped the fuck out and made 50 phone calls and called the caseworker and say, what the fuck is going on? And it is kind of hard to feel like you have no idea and no control of the situation when your child isn't with you, because in this generation, mommy and daddy aren't together,
right?
So I'm sorry, just
well, I mean, you walk into this kind of situation, and for me, it's like I just put up on Facebook, like, I wish there was a way that I could just sit there and go, okay, I need to take a leave for the month, so that way I can make sure my girlfriend's okay, and be able to do that, so that way, my girlfriend, is okay and everything is good, and that, I know that she's going to be good, whereas, you can't do that in this case in H. I would, like, I'm in Rochester. I want to be there. I don't want to be fucking here. No offense to anybody else, but I don't want to be here, so to speak. I want to be there. I want to be there with her, making sure everything is okay and holding her hand when things go bad, because I do love this girl. This is going to be the girl that I marry, obviously. I've said that several times. This isn't something new. This is the way it is. And it kills me. It does. It really does kill me, because there's nothing really I can do to help her, and it just really sucks, like I want to be able to do whatever I can to make sure that this girl is taken care of, and it's out of my control, and it just sucks, like I want to. I hate to make this like a somber podcast, but this is something that I think a lot of people have to understand, that you don't really, sometimes as a parent you have to kind of expect the unexpected, because here's the problem: by the time that you figure out that there is the unexpected out there and it could happen, this could happen,
Mm-hmm.
And my girlfriend, it shouldn't have happened to her. She's not only has she lost her job because of this, and I'll get onto that in a minute, but it's to the point where, like, she's emotionally gone. Like, if she's not with me, she's gone. Even the slightest thing, even if it's not so much of a negative, just kills her, and it sucks. It absolutely is just it's the worst thing that could ever happen to somebody. And being somebody that's on the outside, trying to be there as much as I can while trying to work too. It's really hard. It's not. I'm not going to sit here.
You can't focus on work because
right.
real life is happening.
Right. And I'm not going to sit here and say, like, this is going to be like a walk in the park at all, because it isn't. But at the same time, I have to be there and do whatever I can for this girl. And it's not like I have to be there. It is because I'm going to be there, and she's not going to be allowed to just, be like, okay, I'm done. I'm going to just check out now. No, that's not an option. I'm not giving you that option, and you're not going to get that option, So I'm just.
What gets me is that things are very, very soon. Obviously, you said.
Oh yeah, everything's gonna move quickly now. Once she wakes up, it's gonna move quickly.
Well, it's like, because Rochester has incredibly great trauma centers.
Oh yeah,
great intensive care units, or it's so fucked up that that her daughter had to be sent all the way to Buffalo. When Rochester would have been so suitable,
right? And it's not the fact that she went there, because the hospital's great. Don't get me wrong; they've done a very good job with her. They continue to do a very good job with the girl, and I'm very pleased at how they're handling Sophia. But it's to the point where right now, and I get it, we can't really move her, and I don't want them to move her because I don't, I don't want that to happen. But at the same time, here's a girl that, again, if she was here emotionally, she would be 50 times better. Half of how she's feeling would be gone, and that's the problem right now. And as for her job, like they called her in the middle of all this. I don't know if she called them because she's been trying to update them and make sure whatever. But she was only there for 2 weeks, and they fucking sit there and go, "Oh well, we'd like you to resign." Who the fuck has the balls to say that to them?
And what a fucking cop out! Like for them to say, "We like you to resign," like they're saying, we don't want to fire you. You know what I'm saying?
That's the thing. Like they said to her, like, we're gonna have to fire you anyways in about 6 weeks if you can't come back to work. And it's like, this is all unexpected. And you say that to a girl? It's like, and this was a good employer for her. I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with you people? Like, I'm not gonna say the employer because I really want to, but I'm not gonna say it. But if I could sue them, I would sue the fucking pants off of them because they are fucking. I found that very fucking insensitive, and it's just it's stupid I should have there if I had been there. That's the other problem too, is like this happened when I wasn't at the fucking hospital. If I was there and they would have said that to her, I would have grabbed the phone from her and said, "Listen to me. You will not call my girl. You will not talk to my girl about anything involving resigning until she is out of the hospital with this little girl. Then we can sit down and have a conversation. But until then, lay off." And if they continue to call her and continue to harass her, I'd have the lawyer fucking sue them.
Yeah.
But there's nothing I can do now because they fucking, she resigned. And she was in an emotional point where, I'm sure she wasn't thinking straight.
Yeah, of course. How could anybody think straight when their child is, incapacitated,
And the worst thing is the worst thing of this whole thing is she thinks like, at some point, even when she gets through this, and again, there's a lot of unknowns. You don't know how Sophia is going to be after, all of this, but it's so kind of like she thinks like I'm going to leave her, like I'm not going to be there when through all of this, and it's like, and she's like, I'd rather you leave now before something happens. And I'm like, I'm not going anywhere. Where do you think I'm going? Mm-hmm. You're the love of my life. I'm not going anywhere.
Yeah.
I'm not saying.
Understandably so. She's under a lot of stress. I mean,
right. I told her, like I said to her, I was like, you better go get the National Guard because my ass ain't going nowhere. I'm in it for her. I'm not in it for anybody else. I'm in it for her. Mm-hmm. And there's times where it's going to be hard on me, and it is. There's times where I've broken down too, and because it's hard. There's nothing. I can put myself in that position, and I can hug my son and be like, yeah, I'm glad this didn't happen to you, and I'm not going to let this happen to you. But then. At the same time, I can't be in her position. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And it's kind of hard in that regard. It makes me happy that she needs me and that, I make her happy when she's around me. But I just wish. How do I? You know what? Fuck it. I'm just gonna say it. I really wish there were other people there that were there for her, so that she could get constant support. Because everything that's happened to her in the past, she feels like there's nobody there. And it just that part really pisses me off. Like I want to call certain people, and it would just make the situation worse if they were up there. Gotcha. It sucks. You know what I mean, man? And it's gonna be hard, but I think once she gets back here, everything will be fine. I just need everybody out there that's listening to, just pray for this little girl, and I'm not a religious person, but pray for this little girl, and make sure that we do everything in our power to make sure that this little girl comes out of this, and pray for Kelsia too, because she's having a hard time with this, a really, really hard time, and I just I hope that everything will accelerate to the point where I can have her here in the next week or two, because it would just give her so much more strength to be around me, mm-hmm. And so
yeah, it's one of those deals where like you can be there and be supportive, and it's just unfortunately what goes on in the head of a mother that's stressed the hell out. we have absolutely no control, and this is something that I've learned, I've mentioned in the past, I've been going to group therapy and regular seeing a therapist or whatever. There's nothing, we can't control other people. Men as what's hardwired into us is to be problem solvers, and we're going to fix everything. And we can't, unfortunately, that's when we get into trouble, when we try to control stuff that we can't control. But as long as she knows that you're there for her, and it's it's going to be hard for that message to get through because obviously she has other things on her mind. But you're there for her. I don't know if she's going to be listening to the podcast, but she can hear the support in your voice and stuff like that. That you're there. And it's
and I'm not going
stressed
anywhere.
out.
I'm not going to go anywhere. I'm here. I'm going to be there. I'm not leaving. I don't intend to leave, and I'm not going to leave no matter what happens. It's just, I think basically she just needs to hear that she basically just needs to have this, the quicker we can get her home, the better she's going to be.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just hoping that that will be possible soon, because she really needs to be home. She needs to be home with me, and she needs that support, because right now that's going to be the most important thing for her. And that's just I'm sorry to do a somber podcast, but I think this is an eye-opening thing that everybody has to understand. If you have a kid, and you're listening to this podcast, my suggestion would be to hug your kid and love your kid, and just love them a little bit more these days, because you never know what's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
And again, I need to make this clear. The father didn't do anything in this regard. He didn't even know that there was a problem until it was too late. And luckily the little girl is still alive, and that's all we can really hope for at this moment. And
nowadays, there's so much work on. We live in a great age of technology and stuff like that, where where she can be given a comfortable life. Hopefully, obviously,
right.
All this prefacing by saying hopefully and fate be willing, or whatever. If you want to use a religious, say God, hopefully, but she will have a comfortable life, and understanding, and then whatever happens, love, love is, you don't need words to express love and to translate love. And, obviously Calcia loves her daughter, and her daughter's going to feel that, there's maybe it's because, my little, like my instincts kick in being a dad, that, you can, I hate to sound trippy about it, you can radiate love to your child. You can,
right.
You can send love without having to say a fucking word. There's instincts there. When you hold your child's hand, they feel it. Maybe I'm projecting a little too much on it, but that's how I honestly feel. So her daughter is going to know that she is loved, and cared for and stuff like that. And hopefully, with the way technology is, maybe we can, they can work on something, where she can have a decent quality of life and a comfortable life. And we'll take it from there. And when I say we, I mean a collective we.
Right. And the one thing that I've been telling her, and I think is true, is that things, she's not going to be the same. Okay, we all know that she's not going to be the same. When this happens and surgery has to be done, there's going to be complications. Okay. But from what I've been telling her is, she feels helpless. She feels helpless right now. She can't do anything. There's sometimes where she can't even touch Sophia because they don't want her vitals, her heart rate to go up or anything. And, it kills her sometimes. But, the one thing that I say to her is that this is going to be the best thing that you can do for her right now. Sorry, I'm trying to collect my thoughts here at 2:30 in the morning. But, the best thing that you can do for your daughter is to, do everything in your power to make sure she lives the best life possible. And here's the good part. And this is what I kept telling her. Here's the good part. This girl is not even 2 years old yet. She's not even 1.5 years old. She can relearn everything, and by the time she's 3-4 years old, be fine. Will there be some complications? Yes. Is there some things that maybe, we don't know exactly what's going to happen. We don't know, if there's going to be any complications. She could be fine. The right side of her brain could take over, and everything will be fine. But you have to, as a parent, and in my mindset, if this happened, I know she would be doing the same thing. I know she would be there comforting me every step of the way, and I know she wouldn't let me sit there and just fail. And I'm not gonna let this girl fail. I'll be damned if I'm gonna let this girl fail. But I would be saying to her, she would be saying the same thing to me. You need to make sure that he gets every single service. The minute he wakes up, he needs to have those services started and get these things moving, because that'll make the difference. That'll make the difference, and that will be the way that you help your daughter, or in my case, my son. And I don't know. I guess that's really, really it that I can say right now. So. I hope, those of you listening, I hope that you can, I hope that you guys can, those of you that pray, I guess is the best thing, or if you guys just have thoughts out there.
Yeah, send out good vibes, send out,
please.
Good energy, Kelsey needs it, and it, understandably so. I mean, a parent with a kid, and there's that incredible, profound helplessness to feel that there's nothing, and rightfully so, that we feel that way because we feel helpless, and part of that is coming to terms with reality, but also it's also not the end of the world. I mean, horrible things happen to people all the time,
right?
You just got to keep you got to keep your spirit up, and this is funny. It's funny coming from me because I'm such a miserable son of a bitch, but
you said
sometimes I'm talking. Sometimes when I say this stuff, I say it for myself also. It's like,
right.
You can't let your spirit be trumped. I mean, the last, it's been about a year now since I was kicked out of the house where I lived with my daughter. What I'm saying? Like I said, I haven't had custody. I haven't lived in the same house with my daughter for actually, I think today's like the anniversary, as a matter of fact. And so for the past year, it's been rough, and for people, I don't know, for the long-term listeners of the show, I've moved like 4 times last year, and don't get me wrong, I get bummed out, what I'm saying, but it's human nature to get bummed out. It's human nature to, but I'm, it's trying to, don't let the fucking odds get to you. Don't let the bullshit get to you, because, as long as you work forward towards a goal. And it's hard to see that goal when you're in the middle of the bullshit. There's that old phrase, you can't see the forest from the trees. When you're in the middle of all the nonsense, and it's hard to get a perspective on the bigger picture. It is hard. It is very, very hard to get a good perspective. But when you kind of have a chance to step away and really look at the situation, then you kind of like, you're like, what? We're going to, I'm going to make this okay. I'm going to, things are going to be okay. And so,
right.
Like I said, whatever your belief system is, just send out good energy, prayers.
We just need to get her. We basically just got to get her through the next couple of weeks, and if we can do that, I think she'll be back here. She'll have all the services for Sophia here, and then I think everything will be as good as it can be. And then I can make sure I can get her help, because it's kind of like I said, it's really hard because I'm an hour and a half away from the person that I love, and I unfortunately have to work. I can't get out of it, and it as much as it sucks, I know at the end of the day, if I don't do this, then, there's going to be no, Kelsey is not going to be able to have any money anyways. If she uses up all of her money, then what is she going to use,
Mm-hmm.
And if you guys, and then, by the way, if you guys want to help her, let me know. You can email me, paulpskrillo@toonamifaithful.com. Let me know if you guys want to send whatever you want. I will, anything that you want to send, if you want to send cards or you want to send flowers or whatever, anything that you want to do, let me know, and I'll see what I can do, because I want to make sure she's okay with that. I think getting flowers and having that kind of support around will brighten her day as well. So, if you guys want to help out, again, my email is paulpskrillo@toonamifaithful.com, and just good thoughts out there if you could, please, because, she's, no mother should really go through this, and, I'm just one man. I can't do everything, but I am, I just need as many prayers and as many good wishes out there as I can have. So,
all right.
But I think we need to go to a commercial break so we can get off of this.
We'll come back with the second half of the show, a little more traditional to what our podcasts usually are. So I guess to start lightening the mood, I guess we'll be back with more dick and fart jokes.
I guess so.
This episode of Two Strangers, One Podcast is brought to you by Comics Etc., 1115 East Main and North Goodman at the Hungerford Building, door number 8. Find out more information at comicsetc.biz or like them on Facebook at facebook.com/comicsetc1.
Click and Hit, enhancing the experience for all recreational smokers. Click and Hit is a one-handed portable vaporizer. This smoking pipe has a compact 4-stage design, complete with a built-in, windproof, butane refillable torch lighter. The large burn chamber holds your stash of legal herb or pipe tobacco. Click the button to ignite and inhale as usual. When you are done, put it back in your pocket for later. Smoke anytime with the touch of a button. No more carrying around grinders and tins. You can leave the pipe, rolling papers, and even your lighter at home. The Click and Hit cordless vaporizer is no bigger than a normal cigar, making it the world's smallest and most discreet vaporizer. It's perfect for use in small places or shared rooms. It's efficient, getting 5 to 8 draws from your packed chamber. It's affordable at just $19.95 each. Buy 3 and the shipping is free. Buy 4 and you get the 5th one free. Visit www.click-n-hit.com. That's clickandhit.com. And now for listeners of Two Strangers One Podcast, you can use promo code STRANGERS and receive 10% off your purchase at clickandhit.com. That's promo code STRANGERS for 10% off your purchase.
And we're back. Okay, so we haven't recorded in about 2 or 3 weeks now.
2 weeks, yes.
And oh my God, the overwhelming flood of incredibly nerdy stuff has come up.
Including the fact that you wanted to, break into my house and rob me of Justice League War.
Yeah, you lucky bastard. Let me
explain what happened. So, I didn't tell Chris, but and to be honest with you, I didn't think that I was going to even be able to get a screener. So I emailed Warner Brothers because I had a contact there, because at Geeky we were trying to do movie reviews at one point. Mm-hmm. And suffice to say, it's not that easy to do video reviews for movie reviews. So that went right out the fucking window. But then, so I emailed her again. I said, hey, I'd like to get a screener for Justice League War. Is there any way that you can get in contact with somebody or point me in the right direction? And she pointed me into this other direction. I emailed this girl, and then all of a sudden she's like, give me your address. And I'm like, okay. Mm-hmm. And I'm waiting, and I didn't hear anything back. And I'm like, so did you send it? And then all of a sudden I have at my doorstep Justice League War, and I'm like, let me go cream my pants. Excuse me. And if you guys want to see that review, it's actually up on geekyinc.com right now. It's a written review because Warner Brothers wanted it. They wanted it by a certain date, so I like to make sure that we get things done by a certain date. So it's just a written review. I apologize. I can still do a video review if I want, but I think it's a little late for that, so we'll just keep it to this. But yeah, then Chris, I actually think I tagged you, and I was like, "Ooh, look at this, Chris!" And you're like, "I'm gonna fucking rob you."
And so don't be surprised when you see that someone breaks into your house and there's broken glass, and just that DVD is missing. You're not gonna take anything. Nothing else is taken but that DVD. It's the new Justice League War animated movie from DC, and as we've stated in the past on this show, the DC animated movies are, for the lack of a better term, the fucking bomb. The movies are incredible. I don't think I've yet to see one that I haven't liked. I mean, honestly, let's be very real here. The one I liked the least was Green Lantern Emerald Knights. And even that was an incredible fucking movie, and
well, you're a DC fanboy though, so
exactly. Oh yeah, and so and I'll be honest with you. I mean, I thought I was pretty plugged in on all the new releases. I had no idea that was coming out. I honestly had no idea that was coming out, and I probably heard about it maybe a week before, a week before it was released, and quite frankly, probably maybe 2 or 3 days before you had fucking posted that picture on your Facebook.
What picture? What are you talking about? I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's you can
Chris, I will
gloat if you like.
At some point, I will let you view this title. Okay.
Okay. Well, I mean, and
whenever my life slows down, Jesus Christ.
Sure. Yeah, and it was right before all this stuff happened, where I was going to say, look, I can understand if you don't want to lend it to me because you may want to get it back. But I was going to say, let me at least go. Let me go over to your house. Let's have a screening or whatever. Actually, that would be like
I don't know if I could get you screening with you because you're probably sitting there going, "Oh God, oh God, oh God," all over my screen, and then I got to clean it, and then I got to get a fucking new TV because it smells. Too much.
It'd be pretty awesome. Like, I mean, okay, we don't play the audio because we wouldn't. That would be copyright law and everything like that. But like, if we did kind of like a running commentary. Like I guess somehow if we watched it like on a laptop with the headphones on,
right?
So the microphones wouldn't be picking up the audio, and this kind of have like a running like an unofficial director's commentary, but not really director, more like just
going in the wrong direction, folks.
Two guys that are like not associated with it at all.
Yeah, this podcast will be like two guys go to jail. Two gays go to jail. Yeah. Well, Chris was gay the other podcast, but anyways, let's see what else happened.
And then okay, go on. I'm sorry.
Go ahead. You were gonna say something.
Well, no. Well, I mean, I think the biggest news or the biggest wow recently was the Guardians of the Galaxy trailer, which looks fucking awesome.
Yeah, that was interesting. I was sitting there going, is this more of a comedy or an action flick?
Well, the Marvel movies have been they've been getting the where DC excels in animated movies, and of course the DC animated movies they throw in a little humor. You got to have a little levity to all the action.
Right.
The Marvel movies, and I think that's what I loved about like Iron Man in particular, was that it had a good blend of comedy with the action.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It doesn't take itself too seriously. You know what I'm saying? Because how could you take it seriously? You know what I'm saying? With a flying suit, and then you got this movie with a fucking walking tree, a talking raccoon,
Sounds like an anime.
And so, the one thing it took me a couple seconds as I was watching the trailer, and I knew they announced the cast of it, but he's from Parks and Recreation, the character, the gentleman who plays Star-Lord. And honestly, like I hate Parks and Recreation.
Right.
I hate that show. I hate his character. And only because I guess his character, he plays like a dummy. He was in what's that movie? What's Your Number? With Amy Farris, where he plays like in the boyfriend back in the day, like because Amy Farris like runs into her ex-boyfriend, and when she met him when they were dating years ago, they were both fat, and now they're both like thin and attractive. So my point is that I didn't like him. I hated him in Parks and Rec. I didn't really have an opinion for his character and what's your number. But now he's going to gain a new fanboy because I mean I think they get a good vibe from him. Where he's playing the a guy who's so full of his own self. Like why who calls him Star-Lord? Like mainly himself. Like I get the vibe they're going for there. Where the guy's a little too full of himself and gives himself his own nickname and stuff like that, which is
right.
And then of course you got Batista.
Oh yeah, that should be interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I'm all for being a wrestling fan, which I guess we'll get into in a moment. I'm just happy he's working, because unfortunately, what do you the man with the iron fists that didn't do as well as it should have, which I haven't seen yet, but I mean it looks good. I could have sworn he was in one other movie, but I being a wrestling fan, I kind of, I champion these guys, having a career outside of just wrestling, so I'm just happy to see Batista working. What's his face? Vin Diesel as the voice of Groot, if I'm not mistaken.
Right.
And then of course, Zoe Saldana. God damn. Now, because Zoe Saldana is playing the character Gamora, and I'll be very honest with you, I'm not about to start here and start acting like I'm a Guardians of the Galaxy expert, because I certainly am not. Like I said, I'm more of a DC fanboy. That being said, her character Gamora is a very sexual character and is always wearing like the skimpiest of skimpy outfits. And so far in the trailer, they don't really have her wearing anything too skimpy. I mean, Titan leather and stuff like that, which is I have absolutely no problem with. But I wonder if at all we're gonna have like a damn near naked scene. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I know it's supposed to be a family movie and not family, but the all the Marvel movies, I believe, have just been PG. I don't think there's a PG-13 in any of them. But I mean, give us a little butt cheek, give us something. But she was in Star Trek, and they based her looks on for the character for Avatar, so even though it wasn't literally her, it was a computer generation, but I mean it looked like her,
Right.
So it seems to have a good. Now, I was always under the assumption that the Rocket Raccoon character, who was voiced by Bradley Cooper, I was always under the assumption that he had an Australian accent or a British accent. And if I'm not mistaken, he doesn't have the accent in the movie. I could be wrong. I could be totally.
Which one are we talking about again? I'm sorry.
Guardians of the Galaxy, Rocket Raccoon.
Rocket Raccoon.
There's a little raccoon in the trailer.
Yeah. No, I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
And if my comic book fandom is right, I could have sworn that character had a British / Australian accent, which I know they're two different countries, and they probably want to have my head for saying that they're the same. But I always thought, I don't think in the movie, or from what I catch, he seems to be speaking American English and not British or Australian. So. I should do a little more looking into that. So, but yeah, it looks fucking awesome. Just the fact that they have that, like, what's that Tom Jones song? I'm hooked on a feeling, ooga 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 chugga, like the most ridiculous, stupid song they have in the trailer of this action comedy movie. So it shows you that they have the right energy, they have the right vibe, they have, if the movie's anything like the trailer, it's gonna fucking rock, basically.
We also have, speaking of stuff that kind of sucks. I found out today that what is it? It's Prodigal. Is the name?
Prodigal, the series developed by George Christic, who's been on this show, who's been on and he's been on the Toonami Faithful.
Basically, what happened was Nick actually turned it down. So at least that's according to George's Twitter page. Mm-hmm. He said something also about live action, so we're gonna have to find out what's going on with that. But
the official tweet was, the bad news is that Prodigal isn't being picked up. The good news is that they're going live action.
Right.
So if Nickelodeon isn't picking it up, then that means somebody's picking it up. I mean, because how could you go live action without someone saying, okay, let's go live action?
Well, I mean, for me, this was supposed to be a cartoon. Mm. And I highly doubt that they've abandoned, like, the cartoon portion of this. And so for me, I think where I want this show to be.
Gotcha.
And then that would get you to watch that certain TV block that you don't like me to mention.
Well, no, I got nothing against Toonami. I just don't want it to dominate the damn episode. No, well, that being said, I mean, I know George has posted concept art for the show.
Yes.
There's one particular picture that sticks in my mind where it is a very attractive, curvy woman being held up by a robot, which, I guess the best way, it looks like the Iron Giant, but obviously human size.
Well, let me give some background a little bit, because I don't think a lot of people know. Like, I know people that listen from the Toonami world know about Adult Swim, but there might be some other people out there that listen just to this show that don't know anything about Adult Swim. But Adult Swim and Titmouse basically have a very good relationship. They probably have, I would say Adult Swim has probably the best relationship, because, people seem to think these days that Toonami is an anime block. Well, don't make me have to prove you wrong 50 times, but it hasn't been all anime. And as Jason always says, this is an action cartoon block, not an anime block, which it is dominated mostly by anime, but that's all you can get right now, really. Mm-hmm. So, and then they just said on the Q&A, speaking of DC, that if they could pick up something that was DC, if it was available to them, they would pick it up. So, people out there that are going, oh, Toonami didn't get Young Justice. Well, dude, how the fuck are they supposed to get Young Justice when the rights aren't available? Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? It's like, it's a catch-22. It's like, what do you want me to do? Like, I can do something, but all it's going to be is, hey, can I have this? And if they say, no, fuck you, well, then there's nothing I can do. But getting back to what I was saying, Titmouse and Adult Swim have a very good relationship. And if you don't know what Titmouse shows are on there that are not, like, I guess, action-oriented, Some of the examples is Rick and Morty. That's one of the examples. I believe that is Titmouse, if I'm correct. I could be wrong. Please, if somebody's listening to this, correct me. I know that China, Illinois is Titmouse.
Oh yeah, that's definitely.
God, I gotta think of what else is Titmouse. There's a couple other ones. I wanted to say Squidbillies, but I'm not sure about that one. They did work on.
No, I'm 99% sure Squidbillies is what's the one in Georgia? Something
Not
Street.
sure. Oh, okay.
William Street.
Well, William Street is Adult Swim,
Yeah,
but that's their production company. I'm trying to. I know they worked on, because I remember the last interview we did with George. He had said that they worked on. What is that show? Venture Brothers.
Of course, yeah. That's...
Venture Brothers. The Rock Show. God, what is that? I'm so tired. I apologize. I should have it on top of my head. But, God, what is the name of that show?
Metalocalypse?
Metalocalypse. I believe that they were part of that as well.
Yeah, Titmouse does Metalocalypse. That's, yeah.
Well, see, there's like a ton of shows, a ton of original shows that Adult Swim has just from one company. So Adult Swim and Titmouse have this very good relationship. So, like I was saying on my Twitter today, I would like to see, and it would probably be more Adult Swim than it would be Toonami, I would like to see Turner give Adult Swim money, because, face it, Turner is the parent company, so they have to give them money to do things, and take a chance on the series. Produce it, put it out, and if it bombs, it bombs, but Titmouse shows don't usually bomb on Adult Swim, I'm sorry. Yeah. They do very well, and... this is an important show, because if you've been reading and you've been paying attention to this, the whole crew from Megas XLR is back together for this show. And a lot of people want to see this show. So if we want to bring this to life, and I don't want to start an uproar on the internet like, oh, we got to follow Paul and do what he fucking says. And no, I'm not the end-all, be-all of everything, so let me get that out there too. But, I kind of want to hear from people, like, do they want Prodigal? Would they want this on Toonami? Would they just want it on Adult Swim? It doesn't matter to me. I think this is a good show, and I think if it's done by the people that did Megas XLR, it definitely needs to be on Adult Swim, whether it's on Toonami or not. It makes sense. It makes sense. And by the way, here's the thing. Yeah, you're paying up front for a show that you produce, but guess what? Then you can have that show forever. Symbiotic Titan is a perfect example. That show is theirs forever because it was a Cartoon Network show. And now they can play this show whenever the fuck they want. It's free. Ghost in the Shell is free. God, I gotta think. I gotta go into my... I gotta put my Toonami hat on and figure out what else is free. But you get the picture. You know what I mean? Like, you get the picture. Like, they have these things, and, I would personally like to see, this come to life.
Oh, of course. I mean, obviously there's a little, there's a little self-interest only because George has been so cool with coming on both our podcasts, I mean, and I let me tell you, I've it's going to sound weird. I caught up on a bunch of episodes of Motor City because when Motor City was out on Disney XD, I'll be honest, at that particular time I didn't have cable and I was kind of in between,
That's another show. I'll be honest with you. That's another show that I think would be great on Toonami if they can get their hands on it, which last time I checked, sorry to cut in and do a little segue, but last time I checked, Disney was a lot more open to letting them have at least some rights to the show. So it should be interesting to see if that ever shows up again one day. But continue. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no. I was watching Motor City, and I'll be honest with you, it's fun. I'm obviously a big fan just from the Megas XLR days, but I was watching Motor City, and I was my jaw dropped on how wonderful that cartoon was. I mean, you got obviously this Flash animation, which is basically their version of doing traditional style animation. Right. Along with, this beautiful, fucking absolutely beautiful computer generated stuff. And it was like this weird conglomerate. And then not to mention the voice talent. You got Mark Hamill, aka, Luke Skywalker, the Joker, as the voice of Kane. Let me see who else. Oh, Jim Brewer, the hilarious Jim Brewer, comedian, who I got a chance to meet one night. It was actually at a Metallica. It was a show that Metallica was playing in New York City, and I
Right.
met him hanging outside. And Jim Brewer is just fucking hilarious and funny. The other voice actors on the show, I'll be honest with you, there was one more. She's been on a couple episodes of The Big Bang Theory. She's been on a couple episodes of Raising Hope. And I don't know her name off the top of my head, but she's a comedian, and she's part of a two female comedian troupe where they kind of play music, but it's obviously like comedy music. She plays like the ukulele. She's kind of like awkward looking, but like she's cute, but kind of, and I don't know her name off the top of my head, but she's the voice of one of the main characters on the show. And it's like, it's such an incredible voice talent. And then if I'm not mistaken, also Brian Doyle Murray, Bill Murray's brother,
Right.
which I guess we could get into a little bit later. Brian Doyle Murray is the voice of one of the GOAT character, because when George Christic and Jodie Schaefer get together, they always seem to have that one guy, he always has a handlebar mustache, and he's, they sneak him into every show that they do together. So it was, but he, in this particular reiteration of the GOAT character, Brian Doyle Murray, Bill Murray's brother, voices it. So, I mean, it's just such a weird, eclectic cast, which is just, I was watching it and I'm like, man, this fucking show is awesome and deserves more fucking props. So, I mean, if Disney, Disney owns fucking everything, for God's sake.
Right,
And-
that's true.
and if they are free enough to give it up and no, not give it up, but give the rights so Toonami can show it, because it really was, for the lack of a better term, like a sleeper hit. Like, people need to understand that this is a fucking awesome show. And I'm
Right.
not just saying that because the creators of the show have been so good, and then like you guys, that episode, you guys did on the Toonami Faithful, that episode with Chris Pernosky. Chris Pernosky, once again, a fucking, it's brilliant, hilarious, and it just, it's good to see the nerds winning. It's good to see the
Good
nerds.
to see the nerds winning.
Yeah, so like I said, check out Motor City. All the Titmouse stuff is awesome. Venture Brothers is awesome. I'll be honest with you, I'm not a big fan of China, Illinois, but I believe the guy that did China, Illinois, he's done some like internet, he has some like internet hits that, like, I guess, which is what got him the role of, being the producer of a TV show that's being made by Titmouse. And actually, the funny thing is, I like those clips on the internet more than China, Illinois, but that's
Right.
just me. Okay, so I guess I could kind of, and also in sad news for nerds, at least, Harold Ramis, the rest in peace, the guy that brought us Egon Spangler. He's, who gave us, who wrote or co-wrote and directed Ghostbusters 1 and 2, Groundhog Day. Well, that one he just straight up wrote and directed. I believe he wrote Multiplicity, or did he even directed it also? I think he directed it also. Caddyshack, Meatballs. Harold Ramis was such a cool guy. I mean, even most recently, he did that scene in Knocked Up where he played Seth Rogen's father and stuff like that. So it was a shock earlier this week and it was my coworker, because I left my cell phone at home, and
How dare you?
Trust me, it was
I
not on
should be in
purpose.
contact with you every fucking second of the day.
And my coworker goes, "Oh yeah, that's a shame that Harold Ramis died." And I was like, "What?" Now, that being said, I'm going to go on to this little rant right here. Bill Murray.
Wait, folks, he's getting the goddamn he's getting the alcohol. Let's go. Continue.
Bill Murray, fuck you. Because what had happened was, and don't get me wrong, I appreciate Bill Murray. We wouldn't have a Ghostbusters if it wasn't for Bill Murray, but apparently there was a feud that had happened between Bill Murray and Harold Ramis, because Harold Ramis directed and wrote Groundhog Day. Bill Murray starred in it, and when the movie was being filmed, I believe Bill Murray had said, this movie sucks, it's not going to do well, and then it ended up turning out to be a massive hit. I mean, who doesn't like Groundhog Day? I mean, if you don't like Groundhog Day, you have no fucking soul, and and ever since then, Bill Murray and Harold Ramis have kind of had a bit of a tension between them. And mind you, this was all on Bill Murray's end. And Bill Murray decides to do all these stupid fucking Wes Anderson movies. I mean, Life Aquatic and the Royal Tenenbaums and Rushmore and all these stupid fucking movies, which I guess, okay, look, it's a matter of opinion. I mean, they're not that they're stupid movies, but it's a kind of an awkward humor that I don't get and I don't like. But there was plans for Ghostbusters 3 to be written, almost to the point where like they were going to say, okay, fine, there's no Bill Murray, or there was rumors that they were going to have Bill Murray in the movie as a ghost because he wouldn't live action in it, come to film. And it was directed. It was written so far. The script, and actually, as of today, and I read just a little earlier, I believe they are still going forward with Ghostbusters 3. But obviously, with the death of Harold Ramis, it's going to be a rewrite. And this movie is going to be them handing the torch off to a new generation of Ghostbusters. Which right now the rumors are it's going to be like Seth Rogen, Jonah Hill. Those guys. But then again, now with Jonah Hill getting all these like Grammy or Oscars and stuff like that, he may not be in it only because, now he thinks he's better than everybody. So my point is, Bill Murray, fuck you, because we could have had a proper Ghostbusters 3 had you just swallowed your own fucking pride and admitted you were wrong. And we could have had Ghostbusters 3 by now. And with today's technology and special effects, that movie would have been fucking awesome. I know they're still going forward with it, but it's just not going to be the same without Egon, because Egon was always kind of like this weird, he was so straight-laced and so forward, and he made you proud to be a nerd.
Dude, do you want to make out with this guy? Jesus.
Yeah, no, I loved Harold Ramis. You know what I'm saying? I mean, being a little kid, I wanted to be a Ghostbuster when I was a kid. I wanted to have a proton pack and a the ghost trap and everything like that. I mean, Egon was cool without being cool. You know what I'm saying? He didn't have to be snarky. He didn't have to be rude. He was just in his own world, but it made it cool to be a fucking nerd. I mean, that's why it breaks my heart to see that, that they never got a chance to do a proper Ghostbusters movie. And that would be real weird if they did a Egon ghost.
Well, from what I've heard, they're doing rewrites on it right now, so we'll see what happens. But is that it? I think that's it we had for right now.
Oh no, well I got a couple other things I just wanted to
bring up. I'm sure you do.
But also, I mean, let's just say, because Bill Murray, he gave a lot of like he said Groundhog Day was going to suck. When once again, Bill Murray and Harold Ramis working together, and I did a little research. They did Meatballs, Stripes, Caddyshack, Ghostbusters 1, Ghostbusters 2, and Groundhog Day. All fucking like comedy fucking titans. Okay, and the last movie Harold Ramis did, Year Zero, wasn't that great. I'm not gonna lie, I wasn't a big fan of Year Zero, but
he did not.
Well, no, I'm just saying no, but I'm all the movies that involve Bill Murray. Those are the ones I was talking about, though, the ones I just mentioned. Because he's done a bunch more than that. But like I said, I'm not happy that Bill Murray couldn't get over himself to fucking this. We could have had a proper Ghostbusters movie. So all right, I'll leave that alone. Have you seen the new Godzilla trailer?
I have, actually.
Oh man, it looks fucking awesome.
It looks good.
Bryan Cranston is 1,000 times better than what's his name? Ferris Bueller.
Bueller.
Oh my God, what the hell's his name? Matthew Broderick. Bryan Cranston. So I'm psyched. It looks fucking awesome. I didn't realize how soon it's coming out. It's like coming out in like 2-3 months. I thought it was going to be like the end of the year. I think after like maybe Pacific Rim, they must have said, hey, let's, push the production. I mean, it looks fantastic. The guy who's directing it, he did a movie called, I forgot the name of the movie, but I think it was just called Monsters. And it was kind of like this super low budget, like he basically made it on like his MacBook. And it was like these people running, and coincidentally, it was people running from like a giant monster. It was kind of like a Blair Witch Project where like they were kind of holding the camera, and not like in the Cloverfield kind of way, because Cloverfield was, they try, when you shake the camera that much and you try so hard to make it look like, real people don't shake the camera that much. I don't care if there is a giant monster coming after you. You know what I'm saying? I saw Cloverfield in the theater, and that shit made me fucking motion sick. I wanted to like Cloverfield, and it was just kind of hard to. But the Godzilla trailer looks fucking awesome.
It does.
I think they're gonna do they're gonna do it justice. They're gonna do, they're gonna give us the giant monster movie that we want and deserve.
Apparently, from what I'm seeing from designs, Godzilla actually looks like Godzilla and not something like.
Yeah, he doesn't have that big jaw.
Yeah, so it should be interesting to see because it basically looks the same, and we'll from what I've heard from the actors that are involved, like they basically said that we're trying to do Godzilla justice, so let us do what we got to do and we'll make it good. So hopefully that's what's going on.
Yeah, and actually, I mean, I could be totally wrong, but I don't think just Godzilla is going to be in this movie. I think there's more funky monsters in this movie than just Godzilla.
We'll see what happens, and I think they actually explain how Godzilla came to life too. So
yeah, so it looks, he looks like a fat cat. He looks like a cat with a double chin, and not that there's anything wrong with that. It's a new take, but I guess if you were going to be a giant fucking lizard, you would look like a fat. I don't know. But it looks interesting. The WWE Network. I know you posted a link or something like that. I haven't had my chance to mess around with the WWE Network. That being said, I have 3 friends that have. And obviously, anyone who's early adopters, they're obviously going to be super fans. I mean, my friends are diehard wrestling fans. It's live streaming, and from what I understand, the live streaming is on point. It was you that said that they're using the same servers as Major League Baseball,
right?
For their because you could literally go back 20 years ago and watch Monday Night Raw from 20 years ago or something like that. So they're saying that there's a little lag and there's a little problem, but then again, I mean that's I'm not gonna they just started. They literally just started.
Oh yeah, they're
still working out the kinks.
That's what she said. What, you thought this was going to be a somber podcast? Fuck that. I'm going to sit there and still say that's what she said. Yeah, I've heard a lot of. There's been some login problems. There's been some streaming problems, but that's
par for the course.
Right.
I think they're going to do it right because there's a lot of money to be made.
Yeah.
And it is nowadays where because let me tell you, nowadays with social media and Twitter. I mean, I haven't paid for a pay-per-view in Jesus Christ, what I'm saying? I haven't paid for a pay-per-view in well over 10 years. And quite frankly, I mean, the way some of my friends are, they kind of live tweet the pay-per-views. So I know exactly what's going on. And even if you even if you don't, I mean, you could go to WWE.com minutes after, the pay-per-view's over and get all the information.
Well, they started doing that because, the internet got so huge that people would just live tweet the pay-per-views. So people that couldn't afford it are just now they're getting
read the feeds,
Yeah, exactly. So
I mean, I think it's going to do well. Obviously there's a couple stumbles in the beginning, but it's they're a juggernaut. They're not. Trust me, nothing's going to stop them. Okay, I got 2 more things or 3 more things I just wanted to touch on real quick. Can you believe this fucking announcement? What was that?
You have 3 more things you want to touch on?
Yeah. Circle, dot.
Yes,
can you believe this announcement about Space Jam 2 with LeBron James?
Oh, that turned out to be a hoax, actually, apparently.
Oh, okay.
Because apparently what happened was people were everybody's like, oh my god, this is actually happening, and then all of a sudden, I guess one of the ESPN anchors did some digging, and it's actually false. At least that's what I heard the last time. Doesn't mean that Warner Brothers didn't all of a sudden change their minds and go, yeah, let's do this. It's popular.
Exactly. Yeah. This rumor may become reality just because of the popularity of the rumor. This is like a snakes on a plane kind of deal where they just made fucking greenlight production right now.
That would be interesting.
But I hate LeBron James, and this is coming from a guy who doesn't watch any sports whatsoever. But I look at him and he just looks like an irritating asshole. I mean, I hate his Galaxy S commercials. I don't know. That being said, let me preface that by saying that I don't watch basketball in any way, shape, or form. He just looks like a very arrogant asshole. If I understand correctly, he was one of those guys that he came straight out of high school, he didn't even go to college and stuff like that.
Yeah, he was one of the few players that the NBA actually drafted out of high school, and he's from what I've heard, he's actually not that much of a dickhead. especially now that he's won championships. But like, you know, it's so funny. Like, you know, he stayed with, I believe it was Cleveland, and like
Then he went down to Florida.
Basically, he betrayed everybody, and they all got pissed because of that. But for me, like, you know, my man's got to do what a man's got to do. I'm sorry, but
yeah, I mean,
you know,
that I can, you know, I mean, I have no emotional investing in, you know, Cleveland, you know, the Cleveland team and him going to Miami. I don't know. He just strikes me as like, just like, you know, he was one of those guys where, I mean, okay, he has talent. I get that, but I think, you know, he's letting the fame get to his head, or I don't know. But they, you know, on based on a rumor, there may actually be a Space Jam 2. So
yeah. What else you got for me here, Chris?
Okay. Okay, just real quick. My friend had posted a link to this thing. It's called Porn MD. Porn as in pornographic. Porn MD, which is a site that will, if it's kind of like a Google for porn. So basically, you know, you go and you put
it's
it
red too, basically. Okay.
Well, it's RedTube, but I mean, it's one of those deals where, you know, if you put in a search term, it will search several porn sites for the video that you're looking for. You know, so if you put, redhead anal or whatever the case may be, it'll search, you know, 8 different sites or so. You know, who doesn't like redhead anal? But the greatest thing is that on that particular site, PornMD. Now, I don't know if this is real, but it's so ridiculous that it's got to be true. What it does is that it will let you know what people are searching for at that moment. So, like, okay, just give me 2 seconds. I have to bring this up. And
folks, he's actually bringing up the site. Oh my god!
I'm looking at porn while I'm on the podcast. That's how real we get. Let me see. PornMD, a search engine for all the world's best porn sites. Okay, so now there's a live stream search, and I swear to God, I'm not making this up. I'm clicking on it right now. Okay, college cum, homemade sex tape, girls only Nuru, cum on clothes compilation, husband gets sloppy seconds, mom son doctor, teen please, Brazzers fuck stop, naughty stepsister, skinny orgasm, porno caliente, lesbian anal BDSM, amateur.
I think we have the idea.
It actually says dog fuck. What the? Mom at swingers party. Eats Peter North. Okay, so you get the idea, and I guarantee you that I'm not making any of that up. I'm looking at it right now, and you know, so that's pretty. I think that's pretty funny. So once again, it's Porn MD, like porn doctor, Porn MD, pornmd.com. I mean, they're not sponsoring the show, but if they want to throw us a couple bucks, that'd be awesome. And also one last thing, and I know this is, anyone who listens to the show knows that I have a vehement hate for Radio Shack. Once again, Radio Shack, fuck you. And I have found a new website, Tayda Electronics. That is Tayda Electronics. Now you could just search for Tayda. They're based out of Thailand, and I know that's, you know, good or bad, however you want to take it.
I was gonna be like, red flag.
Well, I mean, that being said, you know, I had found this website because I was looking for electronics, and, you know, me like an idiot, you know, going to Radio Shack and spending a ridiculous amount of money for basically these small little chips and parts and resistors and stuff like that. If you're a hobbyist, now don't get me wrong, I'm also one of those people that if I want something, I want it right now, and I'll go out to the store and get it, you know. But if you have the patience to wait a week or two, Tayda Electronics. Now, also, you know, just that being said, I mean, I have something on the way. Now, basically, the thing that I ordered costs $3 at Radio Shack. I got it for 30 cents on Tayda. I actually spent more for shipping than I did for the actual product. Now, of course, I ordered just one thing. You know, this is more if you're...
So, you ordered a vibrator?
Well, no. You know, that being said, you know, I had, you know, I can't believe that I was just throwing money away at Radio Shack. And then what I did was I said, okay, you know what, it may sound too good to be true. Then I went on YouTube and I looked up Tayda Electronics. And, you know, YouTube, you know, there tends to be people, you know, you're going to get kind of an honest, you know what I'm saying, when you got people from all over you know, because I follow all these hobbyist videos, and there's guys from Australia, and there's guys from the United States, and guys who make guitar pedals and all this crazy stuff. You know, they're obviously they're not related in any way, shape, or form. So they're not, they're not going to lie, and so far all the videos that I saw, people, praising Tata, for having dirt cheap product. Like I said, I bought something that was like 30 cents that Radio Shack 10 times the charge, except for what, that you have it right then and there. And Radio Shack's selection isn't even that great either. So once again, Radio Shack, fuck you. If you're a hobbyist and if you're looking for capacitors, resistors, if you're that kind of hobbyist, you're making guitar pedals or something like that, Tata Electronics. And
Right.
And don't get me wrong, I'm still waiting for my fucking part to come. But seeing that, it's 1/10 the price, it's I'm more than happy to pay that and wait, and so that's pretty much all the important stuff. I just kind of had, did you hear about the guys in the cow? Okay, did you hear about the guys in the cow in our neck of the woods?
Guys, yeah, I heard about that.
2 guys fucking a cow, and one of the guys was filming it. That was just fucking.
That's just fucked. Yeah, let's not even talk about that. I was gonna say, if there's people out there that are interested in advertising with us, because we do like money and we would love to make money. There's an email that we have. I believe it is twostrangersonepodcast@gmail.com, correct?
Yes.
That will go directly to Chris. We're looking to see if some of you are interested in advertising. That doesn't mean necessarily you can just be like, hey, I just want to save my name on the air. No. We're not that much of whores, okay? We're not going to sit there and be like, oh, look, here's $5, save my name. No, not like that, sorry.
Say my name, say my phone number. I'm sorry.
And I will use Chris's line, but that being said,
yeah.
if
sorry.
If I was going to say, if you want to advertise on the podcast, email us at twostrangersonepodcast@gmail.com. And basically, what we're looking for, and I'm sure Chris will agree with me on this, it has to be geeky related. You have to have a legitimate business. We're not going to just advertise your fucking porn website because you like porn.
Yeah, apparently I do that for free anyway.
Yes, exactly. So just let us, if you want to advertise, it's got to be geeky. It's got to be, I don't know. It's just got to be, Chris can probably say it better than me, but it's just got to be something that would relate to our podcast. And Rochester companies out there, please, we would love to hear from you.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah, so
because
let's
I
wrap
like
it up.
money. I like the green stuff. So.
Please visit 2s1p.com. You can find links related to the show. There's our eBay page, which I keep promising will come, and that's which I started before, but I haven't had a chance to, once again, life getting in the way of lies. Well, I mean, trust me, I want to. There aren't enough hours in the day, man. This is a good problem.
I'm just gonna keep saying this.
And you can visit doublejackpot.us where you can purchase my book. You can purchase my book, Double Jackpot, which you'll hear a commercial for in a couple minutes by the podcaster extraordinaire, Kevin Smith.
I like hearing my voice in a whisper voice.
You could visit our Facebook page, even if you don't have a penny to give to the show, which, I understand life is hard and times are rough, but at, 2 seconds to...
We'll find you if you don't donate. God, I gotta go to bed.
Yeah, even if you don't have a dime to give to the show, just share our Facebook page. I mean, the whole world's on fucking Facebook. So visit, just share 2S1P or the actual link to this episode off of our Podomatic site. Just say, hey, these guys are funny, check them out. The more listeners, the better, because when we have more listeners and we have more subscribers, I actually have a number that I can give towards advertisers and say, look, this is how many listeners we have, and we can ask for a decent amount of money or whatever the case may be.
Yeah, motherfuckers, donate your motherfucking money.
So the more listeners, the better. For the people that do listen and the people who do kind of, contact us on the Facebook page, thank you very much. We do have an incredible audience because, it may not be the biggest audience in the world, but, we have good, loyal followers. And
we love you all, but give us money.
Well, it's just, you know what it is, like when you watch people, you know, people always focus on a negative, like if people, luckily we haven't had like a hate message in a while, but you know, the good people, the positive ones, the positive reviews that we get, thank you guys, you know, you're fucking awesome.
You haven't met the Toonami trolls I get, but yes.
Yeah, no, luckily the trolls haven't hit us yet because
they haven't
fucking depressing.
They haven't figured out that I have another podcast, and they're just gonna be like, "Oh, you guys suck," and I'm gonna be like, "Here's Jarrell." Oh, by the way, he just cut your throat. I'm sorry.
And then there's
I need a towel for that. I'm sorry. I need to go to bed. Jesus Christ.
You can follow us on Twitter at
Stranger Podcast.
At Stranger Podcast, which I don't know why it took me a second to figure that out. At Stranger Podcast, Facebook.com/Two Strangers One Podcast, all spelled out. 2s1p.com. If you want to email us, if you don't use Twitter or Facebook, you could also just reach out to us at twostrangersonepodcast@gmail.com.
Reach.
You can reach around to us at twostrangersonepodcast@gmail.com. And that's pretty much it. I can't think of anything else right now.
Sorry, I'm being really tired and just being a fucking ass. You can email me at paulbascrilla@toonamifaithful.com. That is my main email where I have fans email me all the time. I also have what's called a ask.fm. It's ask.fm/Paul Pascrillo. My last name is spelled Pescrillo. Ask me questions. I would love to hear questions about Two Strangers One Podcast and not all fucking Toonami questions that ask me the same question over and over and over.
When is Dragon Ball Z coming back?
Oh God! When is such a dude, like I don't know how many fucking times more I have to say we're a fan site before people sit there and stop going. Can you bring Dragon Ball Z on the block? Can you bring insert show on the block? I'm just like, oh my God. And then when you put it up, they're like, "Oh, we know that, but can you still bring it on?" I'm just like, just go away. Let's see what else. You can find me on Twitter. It's Paul Pascrillo, at Paul Pascrillo, I should say. I do a lot of tweeting there. I use that to amuse myself and I guess do my Twitter. What should I say that is? Twitterification, I guess. I don't know. I'm fucking looking for big words. I don't know. But yeah, that's about it. That's where you can find me. And again, if you guys want to give me, you want to help out and give your, you want to send anything to Kelsey, just email me at popscroll@toonamifaithful.com, and I'm sure she'll love anything that you guys send. So I appreciate it if you do. And, keep her in her prayers and positive thoughts, please. Positive thoughts.
And once again, the first half of this episode, you can't get any more real than talking about the real drama that's going on in our life. And if you've come so far into the podcast, we thank you for listening. And like I said, the first half was heavy, the second half was light. We try to keep it light because real life can really fucking suck. Mm-hmm. And we also how we deal with the important serious parts is by kind of focusing on the silly stuff so we can alleviate a bit of that tension. We certainly hope you guys enjoyed listening and I guess enjoyed as much fun as we had recording. Thank you for listening to Two Strangers One Podcast. I'm Chris.
I'm Paul.
Don't be a stranger.
Peace. We're out.
Bye. You should be fapping.
You should be playing with me.
All right, here we go, man. Go ahead. You want to read
Double Jackpot.
What is it?
It is a self-published book by Christopher Cologne.
Chris Cologne? Smells good to me.
But
look at her. That broke that fucking cold little exterior. He's like, hee.
But it is spelled Colon.
Him punny.
But Double Jackpot is a book about a comic book artist, Eric, who is in a loveless relationship with a materialistic
I feel you, Eric.
Lynette.
Oh, fucking. Are you sure I didn't write this? Sounds hauntingly familiar.
He starts cheating on his girlfriend with a more creatively supportive woman, Nadia.
Well, I gotta meet her. Where's the Nadia?
There's your summer girlfriend.
Summer Nadia is Nadia.
Nadia?
Yeah, I think Nadia spelled with an A.
All right.
Both Lynette and Nadia play the Double Jackpot, the largest payout in lotto history. much like the recent Powerball. Both girls play his birth date as the winning numbers. Eric is now stuck between two of the country's richest women. Who will he choose? It's not that simple. This is a clever fucking idea,
it
man.
is.
Look at her, fucking. She's impressed.
I am.
She got some summer reading. Christopher Cologne smells real lovely with an original idea. This is. I've never heard this before.
I haven't either. This is a self-published book, much in the indie spirit as Kev's Clerks.
Oh, you don't even need to name check me. This is just a good idea. You could stand on your own, man. You don't even have to be like, hey, remember Clerks? This is nothing like that. This is way more original than Clerks. This is a good idea, man. Why didn't I think of this?
I need something to read. This book is part of the Comic Books, Heavy Metal, Video Games Trilogy Book 2. Odd I See, A Tale from the Road, coming soon.
Right on, man. It's part of a trilogy. This is the first part.
Way to write, man.
He's seeking a literary agent. Motherfuckers, anybody out there? There ain't no literary agents listening to this show, I assure you, sure. Sure. I assure you, sure. But somebody know a literary agent? Hook a motherfucker up! Chris Cologne come up with an original idea. I should tell Raskin. That's a good fucking idea, to be honest with you. That's a fucking rom-com right there. Megan, get Raskin on the phone. Isn't it possible to get Raskin on the phone? No?
Yeah.
I want to run it past him, man. I want to, and if it happens, I get a taste, Chris Cologne. I get a whiff, if you will.
The book could also be ordered on www.lulu.com.
That's lulu.com.
I understand that. I just want to spell it out.
Normally one says it that spells it. Still, lulu.com. What is that? Do you know what it is?
I don't know. All right. The book could also be ordered on www.lulu.com. Search for Double Jackpot Christopher Cologne. A paperback version of the book is $15 and a PDF file is only $5.
$5 is
Yeah.
insanely inexpensive. 15's not even that bad for a paperback version.
No.
This is $1 million idea right here. Like a movie about a dude who fucking is stuck between two chicks, both of who play his birthday and win the lottery. Come on! I can see that trailer. Chris Cologne is on to something. Nobody else can smell it but me.
I'll read it.
Thank you. I'm going to make that smelly joke.
I know. You're trying to get me to laugh again.
It worked once. Double Jackpot is a self-published book by Chris Cologne, man. It's the first book in his Comic Books, Heavy Metal, Video Games trilogy. Book 2, Odd I See, A Tale from the Road, should be coming out soon. Get all the information at Chris Cologne, like a motherfucker.
I will
his
totally
book,
read this.
Double Jackpot. I'm serious. I'm going to recommend that to fucking Raskin. How is that not a movie? You know what I'm saying? This could be a sexy movie. You could do an R-rated version. There could be nudie in it, and you could show them fucking both chicks. Maybe a little penetration. Maybe a butthole shot. No butthole, no care.
I would like to formally apologize to Christopher Cologne.
No, sex sells. Chris Cologne will appreciate that. He's like, thanks for throwing a few buttholes in there, man.
Don't forget to check out twostrangersonepodcast.net, your one-stop resource for everything show-related. You can find links to subscribe to us on iTunes or on Stitcher. You could also find links to buy my book, Double Jackpot, on twostrangersonepodcast.net.
Fuck you, fuck you, fuck you. You're cool. And fuck you, I'm out.